Good morning, everybody.
What's up? What's up, people? We love you guys tuning in with us on this beautiful Friday. Hi, B.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was like Carl likes to say, my video was doing like the Chinese
Oh,
what is it the
yo,
subtitles like
yeah. When they be talking
serious
in their
delay.
language and then they
Oh
put the
my
subtitles
gosh.
in English, you know what I mean? It's kind of like that delayed thing, you know. I'm gonna kill you.
Yes, and I see Dr. Ephraim dropped in. I'm watching it. I see him on the actual page. It's not coming in to restream. Not surprised. Something's going on.
What's going on,
Oh
Spring?
my goodness. So let me test something real quick. But Carl, introduce what's going on today because we're gonna get into embracing vulnerability.
Yes, we talking about embracing vulnerability, which we always talk about. You know who we are. You know who I am. We're talking about embracing the cultural vulnerability. This is what we're talking about with the leaders and
Body count.
and how they do. But we're talking about the leaders now making that a culture around you and solidifying how you can embrace that through the leadership and how. Yes, of course, it's always individually with the leader because everybody's following the leader, right? But when you're embracing a culture, you as the leader has put the culture in place so everyone knows what the culture is. And
Hmm.
there's not about abnormality about being that way in that culture. So this is what I mean by embracing the cultural vulnerability because it's been a standard that has been set that is actually being followed through. How many of you all have worked at positions in the culture from what you've heard upon even getting hired or upon even just knowing a little bit about the company, you come to find out in the midst of working in that departments, teams, whatever, that the culture doesn't match what you were told upon entering this company. So when you that is just really a disconnect with them embracing the culture. And vulnerability allows them to do that because vulnerability puts you at places of where you are putting yourself out there so others can be comfortable in dealing with you and you can be comfortable with dealing with others. So it's definitely on the leader. I got you on that, Rob. Yes, it's the expectation of the leader to have this embracing culture where everyone feels okay with sharing the things that they need to move the teams, departments, whatever it is, however it's sector together forward. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. How do we embrace that?
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about that yesterday.
Yes.
If you can't be honest about what's going on in the culture, then other people come in with these lofty expectations and then they're highly disappointed. They're
Absolutely.
bitter, they're jaded, and then they're not performing properly. And the next thing you know, everything is just a bad experience all around. So yeah, I can't wait to for you to dive into this because this has always been your strong I guess area of expertise, Mr.
Yes,
Vulnerability.
yes, yes.
And today's myth buster is embracing vulnerability in the workplace is a sign of weakness and dangerous. Now, I never heard the dangerous part, but I've heard the
Oh,
weakness part. Now, where do you get the dangerous part from and how can we break this myth?
the myth is breakable. I think Rob hit it on the head. It was going a little bit out of what I was planning on doing, but since he's put it out there, it becomes dangerous when the leader ignores what's going on. So that's where you get the dangerous part of that. And when I say dangerous, it's not the dangerous you jumping out of an airplane without a parachute.
Mm,
But on the semblance and a parallel of that, it can be just as dangerous as the growth of the individuals working at your corporation. It could also be dangerous to the growth of your organization. I don't think we take it so much as seriously as we need to be when those places of culture are not kept to a standard continually by the leader. When there's
mhm,
patches and there's holes in the culture, it damages not only the brand but it damages the reputation of the organization. And though you may not see this instantly, you will see it over periods of times. You'll have losses. You'll have employees not staying. Those are kind of hemorrhages that happens at corporations where you don't hear the gory details about why Susie left. And Susie was this great producer and this great individual that worked there for years. How did she just walk out one day and it wasn't 20 years in and she's going and talking about I'm retiring? Or so she told you, and the next thing you know, she's working for your competitor. These are the
mm,
things that we fail to really look at as we look at as symptoms, but we don't look at it what's causing that. And a lot of time, the culture causes that. and the mismatch that we have. Rob putting it on there. Thank you, Rob, for being so very active today. Embracing the vulnerability in the workplace is a sign of weakness. It's a very big myth because if I'm embracing who you are, and vulnerability is just that, the overall of who you are authentically. So I'm embracing that who you are. Two things happen. I respect who you are and I value who you are. Those two things are quintessential to organizations staying afloat. If I'm valuing the one that's bringing in value to my name is on the moniker, that's fine. But someone has to develop that name, someone has to culture that name, and someone has to keep that name in play. Apple doesn't just stay Apple by the course of it just selling apples. I mean, apples, iPods, iPhones, things of that nature. It doesn't stay there for that. Of course, they're great things. We've come to know them, we've come to learn from them. But there's people behind that have put their names and reputations on the line that you can get a product that you can depend on. Though Apple, I do got a lot of things to say. I'm not going to blast you down because I'm using one of your computers. So I want you to shut down on me. But anyway, those are the things that's really the myth breaking. So when you're embracing the vulnerability in the workplace, you're giving strength and you're giving empowerment to those that you work with. You're giving them the ability to say, yo, I jacked it up, but this is what I'm going to doubly do to make sure that never happens again. You don't give them the ability to go and say, I messed it up. Ooh, I ain't going to say I did it. This is what you cause when you don't have the vulnerability in the workplace. It's what you cause when your culture is not substantial, where people can feel like failure is learning, learning is growing, and growing is building. So all of those things work hand in hand.
Yeah, because I know one of the new mottos in my company was fail fast. That's a
Mm-hmm.
dangerous motto to me. Why is it dangerous? Because now you're not allowing people or you're not encouraging people to think before before they execute, and then when failure comes, and that's fine. No, you have to think it through and then go through it. So there's this different aspects of where people's weaknesses are supposed to really shine so they can learn from it, and where you're just embracing people just not thinking. Because then that's where the frustrations are coming in. That's where a lot of people are just getting upset, and then that's where the breakdown of communication and the fear comes in, because now everyone else is looking like, oh, wait a minute, they messed up. It was something simple, but they don't know the background of you've been there. You should think through a process and then do something, or think through how can you elevate and get to the next level? How can you be better? How can you improve? And then you execute, or and that what I'm saying, like it's a
Yeah.
different feeling. So we want to make sure that for leaders, that's something that we're explaining. We're not saying everything, that all the mistakes that happen, even the mistakes that could be avoidable, should just be with open arms embraced, and you don't say anything against that. No, you do say something, but it's about creating a culture of knowing how to set standards in the proper way, and then knowing how to approach people who aren't reaching certain standards, and challenging them to go beyond their norm, go beyond what they feel they can achieve, if that makes sense.
And
So
this and I definitely agree with that. I want to circle back on that. Uh, in the culture, that's the leader's responsibility. Now,
right.
where that bears in the fail fast, where it bears in at is having the culture of understanding we can fail and then we can get to this. What we must understand as leaders and being the leading with empowerment, with vulnerability, is we have to understand who we're leading. This is where the big disconnect is coming in from. We're not associating ourselves with those that we lead. We're looking at them as establishing them as our direct reports, direct people that we get engaged with. There's numbers associated with them. There's numbers we're expecting from them. But the personality part of it comes in from the leader. I can't go and expect you to be bringing this, and I can't even put to the fact of you if this is something that you failed at that you should know, unless I know you. So this is where the disconnect comes in. We have this flat plateau of, okay, this should be understandable to everybody, but everybody don't understand everything with the straightness of gratitude or gravity. So when I'm talking to, say, Robert, Robert has this excellent knowledge of what we're doing and how it goes, and systematically he got it. But I got Mary, that's a great worker, great attitude, and there's some things about Mary that is really advantageous to our company. How do I generate the differences in leading those two? I can't go and tell Mary directly, yo, this, and that, because Mary can't embrace it like that. This is where
Mhm.
vulnerability becomes key to a leader. Because now I can say, okay, it's the sort of thing like coaching. Coaches like Michael Jordan could take you yelling in his face. He can also yell in your face. But then you had people like Scottie Pippen would perform tremendously, but he was a little timid about you yelling at him. So therefore, as a coach, you have to figure, oh, I can dog Mike, and I know Mike will respond. But Scotty, I got to push Scotty a little bit. I got to pride Scotty a little bit. Got to hold Scotty hand a little bit. He's going to give
Mm.
me that same performance, but I'm me as a leader. I have to realize what moves him. And I think this is where we're missing in the cultures of it, because us as leaders, we're just saying, okay, I need the numbers on the 31st. And how you get the numbers is how you get them. Now, Mary, you always slow to it. Always got to wait in your stuff. It's not benefiting Mary. And you putting it out there not to, and you putting it out there like you are, it's not benefiting you either. Because people are watching you as the leader. And now you've closed off the culture to people saying, oh, well, if I mess up, I ain't gonna tell. I'm gonna slide it. And you have that at jobs. I've had people express that to me, working right alongside me. If I mess up anything, I ain't saying that. I'm gonna let them catch it. What, what benefit is that? And that's all because the culture has made them feel that way. But yes, I love
Yeah.
it. We out to a great start. Y'all are
Okay.
killing the comments in here. Y'all kill it.
Because that takes us to our first I guess action step is to
Yeah.
ask questions. And before we dive into that, I liked what because I love what's going on in the chat. Let me
Oh
just
man,
put
you
that
guys
out
are
there.
killing it. Yes, y'all been going so fast. Y'all been like messing with me. I can't even get in and respond.
Right. Um hold on.
Oh, we got response. We got
No,
response.
because it's a lot going on back here, but but I like what's going on in the comments, and one of the comments is often fail fast simply means don't be afraid to experiment, which is true, and then that concept is a good concept. But why can't leaders just say that? The concept has been taken out of context and has
Absolutely, brother.
become toxic.
Absolutely.
Exactly, which and like John was saying, you know, it's being embraced by the US but in the wrong way. They're not understanding the concept. So when you're so when and it goes to something that you said, Carl, when
Hmm.
we're sitting here trying to figure out how can we help our employees or our peers or our clients, or how can we help others be better, one part of that is to ask questions. Ask them, how do they want to learn, how do they want us to give feedback, how do they respond, and then start to pay attention, because sometimes a lot of companies, they ask those questions. We know those famous surveys that they send out. They ask these questions, and then they don't pay attention to the responses, because and you can see that they're not paying attention because of their ongoing performance as a company. Nothing's changed. Leaders still give all that lip service, but their actions are the same. So it's about asking questions, listening to the responses, and then moving forward. So what do you have to say about that, sir?
No, it's just about that. And we got the asking questions guy in the chat. It's just about asking those questions and asking those questions. Um, it's about inquiry. I take it to this, and I hate to use these terms because sometimes they can have the connotation of being bad. Leaders
Hmm.
must be nosy. And when I say that, it's just the definition of the term nosy and what that embodies, not the
Right.
activities, not the connotation of. But nosy is just a snippier way for saying inquisitive. You must inquire about things when you're a leader. You cannot sit in the desk and sit in the office and behind the door with your name on it and expect things to roll smoothly. You can't. And if you do that, you're misinformed as a leader. You must get involved. You must be engaged. Circle back. That's not micromanaging.
Right.
That's not micro being aggressive. Those terms are a lot of times what leaders call themselves doing when they're trying to lead. But it's a delicate balance that must be practiced. You can't just go into this with the attitude of that I understand I've been such and such because we hang our hats on years. We do. I've been in this position 25 years. And I always say
Mhm.
that. I don't even lead a lot with how long I've been in corporate. And most of the time, if somebody asks me, because what does that do? I'm like Janet Jackson. What have you done for me lately? Your 30
Right.
years have built up a resume presence, but what if that resume presence built up with those you developed and cultivated as a leader? See, we don't get
Right.
down into the moments and the points and that kind of thing because I'm digging into that. You, as a leader, you can put on paper that I've been this, such and such and such, and I've done this and this and that, and I passed and certified in this and this and that. But
Mhm.
trees grow fruit. So where are the fruit? Where are the ones that are coming back saying, you know, when I worked with that leader, he was phenomenal. He took what I said and he heard my questions. If he didn't have answers, he explained to me why. We're not, I think leaders have this problem with saying, I don't have to tell you. The military did it. Oh man, the military did it all the time. They say it's above my pay grade. That mean don't ask me.
Mm.
That mean don't ask me. They can tell that
Yeah.
in a minute. If it's above my pay grade, they mostly telling you I ain't trying to hear what you're trying to say. That's just that pleasant way to do it. Leaders need to know. That's a government thing. Well, it's on a need to know basis. How ludicrous is that? If you're running my company, how can I not empower you to know the information to grow me? Whether my name's on the door or not. It's a company that we're empowered by, and it's a lot of what Robert said. The disconnected CEOs are just that. But if we
Right.
don't asking the questions in the reference of listening for the questions that's being asked, because a lot of times we ask something to check the box. I mean, y'all know about that file 13, right? I learned that a long time ago when I was working in HR for a bit. File 13 was where they put the resumes that they had no intention of calling, no intention of setting up interviews, and no intentions of going any further. But you know where file 13 was? Trash can. It was a trash can. If they didn't want to follow up with you or they thought your resume missed or lacked things that they didn't want to follow through with, they threw your resume in the trash can and you worked the wiser. So these are the kind of things that if we're not asking questions, looking for the answers or solutions, we're going to have a continued disconnect that we're also going through so much of so. But I can't say it's on the horizon. Things are looking up.
Right. Because just like Dr. Alex is saying, asking questions to the right people, how important is that? It's very
Mhm,
important. But then who's the right people? Right? I
mhm,
think if you are empowering the workforce, or if you're empowering those around you to bring in their expertise, bring in their knowledge, bring in their ability to think outside of the box, anyone around you can be the right person.
mhm,
And it's also important to have the right question.
mhm,
That's also something very important to know, how to start asking the right questions to get the proper answer, because sometimes we ask a lot of surface things, and that's where it comes into, if you're not able to do the deep dives, if you're not able to understand a process, understand what is the ultimate goal, how can you get to that ultimate goal, then how do you know what questions to ask? And then how
mhm.
do you know that the answers you're getting are satisfactory?
And that comes from the leadership part of that. You know what questions to ask if you know your people. Most of the time, when you get those surface questions, it's from they haven't delved into the people that they're leading. They have no idea
Hmm.
who they're leading. Now, if you ask them some questions concerning to the cliques that they've established, yeah, they know their answers. They know what they. Yeah, me and Molly. Yeah, we like this. We like this. Yeah, you and Molly is corrupting the culture of the workplace with this undignified relationship that you have. So
Mm,
yes, I'm sorry, Molly's. If I got any real Molly's out there,
Lord. Just like the Southern folks, we just make up names. We don't know
yeah,
who we
I just make up names. I try to use names to protect the innocent, but those those are the kind of things that we disallow with when we're asking those questions. A lot of times, leaders don't know what questions to ask because they have not have found or developed or cultivated relationships with those they're
Hmm.
leading. So it's always going to be surface. It's the same as if you're going to have a conversation with someone and it's the first time you met. Most of those questions and interactions are going to be surface because there's no relationship built. So that's where we get, oh, how you doing? Hey, what do you do? Because we're cultivating the information because the relationship wasn't there. But if I'm leading you and I have some kind of relationship to you, if it's nothing more than to know your child is graduating from somewhere with a 4.0 and they're going to do this, I have a common ground where I can connect with you. So now there's an at ease of saying, okay, you know what? Now he's been talking about my child and I kind of feel okay. Joe, you know what? I kind of like not getting this, and I didn't want to say this in front of everybody, but I feel a little better with talking to you now because we've kind of cultivated this relationship. How do I
Mhm.
really get above this? Or how do I be able to do this? Because I want to be more for this department. I want to be more for this team. How can I do this? Then you get the genuineness of people growing. And you get, and then it's advantageous to the company because now I have someone that's generally want to be better than they are, which means they're going to produce better than they have been, which means we're going to be in a greater place in the future. And this is what is all established by the culture and the leader.
Yes. And we have another question, but I also wanted to mention this
Mhm.
comment with Shannon. She was an employee who asked questions, but then got those crazy looks. We all know about that look, the side eye sometimes. And nobody liked that she wasn't a sheep and she stood up for things that didn't make sense. Now, for me, I get the crazy side eye. I get
Yeah,
silent
you get it every
treatment.
time we
I
on the
do all
show
of that.
together.
Right, but what I do is when I ask questions, I ask questions, but not really. I'm not really asking them the question, and I phrase it in a way that they know I'm not asking them the questions. I'm asking in a way to make space for me to now present my findings. Because what when I by the time I start asking questions, I'm already doing research on the side because something's clicking in me saying that something that I'm doing doesn't feel right. Or there's things that I'm being asked to do that does not connect. So I start researching, I start looking around, and I don't just look in my company. I look outside of my company. I look at other industries. I see from my past experience, how has this come? How has this been able to be done? And then when I'm coming to someone with a question, I'm real specific. I ask them specific details of, hey, when you do such and such, is it possible that you can go and do and get this result, or have you been getting this result? And that shows them that I came because I was looking at something. Two, I'm asking to see if they have tried multiple ways, or is it just that one way they've always done it, and now they're like swimming and trying to beg everybody else to do the work. So that's how I usually approach things. And then if they can't come up with a answer for me, I provide them possible solutions, and I give them about two or three, and I say, would this work? And if they don't give me a response, I go to the next person. And usually it's the person above them who would make a decision. So I always try to go to decision makers. And I hope that gives a little help on that. When I'm not getting an answer, I usually try to go to decision makers. And I go to decision makers with possible solutions. I don't go with just the questions. I go with possible solutions, and then I give them three almost like a multiple choice. So I give them choices, and I give them the question, and I give them these choices. Do you get this or do you get this? And if they're still looking flustered and they don't know what to do, then I give them my possible solutions. Well, when I tried it, this is what I saw. Boom, boom, boom. And then I leave it on their plate. So a lot of times that what that does, it gives me some space and some room to move. So when and it always happens, by the time that comes back around, and it always does, they come and they want to now have a group conversation. And what I do, I put it back on the table and I mention that I brought this to the attention already. And these were my solutions. And more often than not, they pick a solution and we work on it and we test it and we try it out as a unit. But a lot of times I try not to wait for someone else's response, because more often than not, if especially if they've been in a situation or a position for a long time, they haven't done much different. They haven't. So it's really depending on how dedicated and passionate are you to get those answers. And I think that touches a little bit on what Dr. Alex was asking. So how do you get real answers? People being truthful and honest. How do we set the stage? We set the stage by bringing by doing some of the little background research. Doing a little bit of that work on our own shows people that you're serious about figuring this out. You're not just throwing questions at people. And that's something else too. A lot of leaders, they can't operate with a bunch of questions because they don't have the answers. And that's where the vulnerability comes in. They don't have answers, and they don't want to look like they don't have answers. They don't want to look like they're behind. So if you can come with questions and possible solutions, you have a better opportunity to have a conversation about where you can go next. What do you think, Carl?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and I can switch that and kind of funnel that. Uh, that's on the individual. Those are the things that you prepare yourself with as an individual, and it's only going to be a few individuals that come with that preparedness uh, that you just talked about, because everybody won't bring that, but you're going to have some that do. Now, when you flip that part on the culture, how do I get empowered to come to the place where you are?
Mm-hmm.
I get empowered through that place through how the culture treats me when I have questions or I'm not sure or I'm uncertain. This is where the culture fails us, because
Right.
when things are running smoothly to the operational sense or to the naked eye, when we see it, we say, okay, these solutions are running smoothly in this department, but there's always underlying in that department of things that are not working. That's boiling to the point of, like she said, how do you get the answers? You get the answers by structuring the culture. And the culture gives you the ability to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And in honesty, the answers will arrive. A lot of times it's not like that. I can just say majority of the times it's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
With the culture is like you put up what you said. An individual that's empowered by the work they do can go and beat through. I fell in trouble with that many times, especially being a military dude. I, I've struggled with that because I've had underlings, or I had ones right above me, and I'm asking a question and they telling me they've been doing this for years and I'm not seeing the equation. I'm like, okay, well, evidently you not knowing. So I would get in
Mm-hmm.
trouble for going over your head. That can cause you a lot of trouble in the military, because you have to follow the chain of command, whether it makes sense or not. But I've taken that same thing and now I do it now in corporate. Like Johnny's my first lead or supervisor or higher up. Yo, I didn't ask Johnny 2, 3 times. Johnny don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't figure it
Right.
out. He knows he don't, but he's in a
Right.
position of where he got to continue to tell me the same thing. So now I got to go and say, okay, Johnny, let me call Joe, because Joe's Johnny boss, and if Johnny don't know what he's doing, I hope Joe do. And sometimes that works. Sometimes you can be ostracized for doing that, but there's a
Mm-hmm.
way to do that as well. And if the culture is developed, and it's just where we continue to talk about embracing that culture. If everyone's embracing that too, there's an opportunity for growth everywhere. That's what I look for when I go in and talk to companies, when I go in and talk to leaders. Where's the opportunities to grow? Where is the
Right.
company not growing? Where's the team not growing? Where's the individuals not growing? Now, then I look at the resumes of those that you're supposed to be leading, and I'm looking at points and places where they're excelling it throughout their career, and they're not
Mm-hmm.
doing it here. Okay, ding dong, light comes up. What's the disconnect? Why they don't feel like they can do that here when it's been a pattern of what they've done throughout their career? See, this is what leaders get into. We delve into that. It's not all about, can I go give the VP the papers and the printouts for the month and tell them we on board or we in the black. It's about, how can I get these ones up under me to develop more, so that way my job is easy. So when I present that report in the big conference on Friday, I'm not sitting there biting my nail. I wonder if this gonna work out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Y'all see it, leaders. Come holler at your boy. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and what Shannon is
Yeah.
speaking to, she approaches leaders with solutions that they asked her for, and then when she did it, they just shut everybody down. And those type of leaders, Shannon,
All the time.
they are different. Those are different breed. Those are the ones you
They should be
totally
going.
cut off.
They should be
You
going.
totally cut off. And when I say cut off, you leave them where they at. They are the ones who will sooner rather than later, they will get um they will get weeded out by the company.
Mm-hmm.
I see it going on right now in my organization. These were the
Not
people who were the
organization.
stop my organization, child. These were the ones
Oh,
who, for the most part, were I want to say they were the cogs in the wheel. They were the ones who were sitting there blocking everything. They were the stopgaps. So a lot of times when you see new people coming in and they're changing things and they feel like maybe they don't want to listen and they're just getting rid of everybody. I learned the hard way, and it's a hard pill to swallow. A lot of times companies clear things out all the way so they can start making room and bringing new people back in, or not even just new people, people that made a difference back in, or giving space for them. They start getting rid of everybody so they can get rid of the tough people. Now I don't think that's a good thing. I think they just need to but that's just me. Go toe to toe and take the hard people out the gate. Stop using the rest of us as cannon fodder. Just take them out the gate.
I use it like
But
I was when I was growing up with bully. Get the one who's talking the most. Yeah, you
yeah,
may take some licks, you may take some punches or whatever, but I guarantee you, if you knock out the bully, everybody else won't have nothing to say. Nothing to say. So you
right.
got to do the same thing in the workplace.
Right. And it's true. Like a lot of these leaders have been there for so long. Sometimes it's difficult to get them out cuz
Oh,
they
not
know
Felicia.
they know they know the red tape. They know where a lot of skeletons are buried. So it's
Yes.
like, damn. So the culture that you have to rebuild, it's hard because there's so many people in the way that you have to now figure out, especially legally, because we're in a politically correct world. So
PC.
legally, you have to now start to maneuver, and that's where you see all these people tap dancing, trying to get rid of the ones that they know are the stopgaps.
Hmm.
So it's a lot. So yes, there are times when you do have to leave because you see that ship not going anywhere, and you did right. And there's times where if you can come to a leader with solutions, you're more than likely, especially if that's a good leader, they're more than likely to take you on and listen to you and help you implement. If you can show them a business case of why this works, they'll help you implement. And I've been fortunate to have that. So that's why I put that out there. And part of this embracing the culture of vulnerability is having those tough conversations. What does that look like for you? How would that feel? And that will call for you too to embrace your own vulnerability, step out of your own comfort zone so you can now bring someone else to the table to have a tough conversation.
Yeah, and it's necessary. It's necessary to have them. One of the first things my father taught me and my brother to do when we were younger is to have spirited debate, and he used exactly those terms. Spirited debate is not in the season of how we be untactful with each other, or it's screaming matches, or it's I got to be heard. It's a simple point of that I'm spirited about my position and you're spirited about yours, and we're going to debate about it. And in some way, in debates, there has to be a middle ground that say, okay, I don't agree with 99% of your stuff, but me and you agree on this 1%. So this
Mhm.
1% that we agree upon, let's move this 1% forward. This is really the true meaning behind debates. No, do you see that? Politicians have really spoiled that. But that's the true meaning of debate. There's something going on. So, in the essence of exchange of ideas and points and references, we're going to come together with a semblance of something that works for everybody involved. You only could do that if you have tough conversations. And in having tough conversations does not always mean you go 0 to 100, because we marry so many different things together to complicate it as one. And it's really not. I can have a conversation with you that can be a spirited debate and we come out on the other side working together in harmony.
Mhm.
That's the mission of having the understanding that this is what this calls. I don't
Mhm.
have to choose a side. I don't have to choose a side. But what I have to say is that, okay, our office and our teams, they work in this capacity. How can we do that, though? And I don't agree with everything you say. Let's have these conversations. Let's involve them because it's
Mhm.
going to affect them. Let's not have these conversations up in the penthouse and push that paperwork down to the mail room and blast it out in memos, not involving any suggestions or any talks or any critics or criticisms or suggestions from those that have to actually put the work out. This is all the
Right.
times we cause disconnect. This is also all the times where we call angriness in the workplace. Hostile work environments. You guys heard of that term? Yeah, that's what they legally call it now, so they can so they can subject you to legal maneuvering. When they say that, I'm working in a hostile environment. When you hear that, most of the time someone is prepping themselves for some legal activity to take place against that work environment. But they don't use those terms because that all comes from there not being tough conversations, not embarrassments. Because I've been in meetings where people have called people out in front of numerous of people, and the only thing I've gotten from those meetings, I glad I wasn't in that person's shoes because that was totally embarrassing and unwarranted. Because you could have pulled that same person in the office, discussed those same things and the toughness of each other, and someone would have got some clarity in that. And that's why you got to have the tough conversation. But if you have those in the culture, it's respected, it's
Mm-hmm.
understood, and people can deal with that. But when you have that with Johnny and Jimmy come in late and go get his coffee and don't do no work till 10 and he been there since 8, and you gonna tell me and I've been there, got there 8:12, and you want to talk about why I'm not clocked in. You can't have that tough conversation with me. Jimmy over here telling me what he did over the weekend. You ain't said nothing to Jimmy. I'm running from the thing trying to get in because my bus was late. I know it's 8:12. Jimmy been here since 8. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
you can't have tough conversations if it's not across the board.
Exactly. And I just want to thank everybody for jumping in. Emily's coming through before she
Thanks,
goes to
Emily.
Tai
Thanks,
Chi. All
Emily.
right now.
Thanks,
But
Emily.
yeah, it's such a hard thing. And Gertrude, I haven't seen you in so long. Hi, Gertrude.
What's up,
Um,
Gertrude? Let's send a shout out to Gertrude.
yes, I think with the tough conversations too, it's also about, can the leader take it? Because it's one thing if you can dish it out, right? But can you take it when somebody needs to have that type of conversation with you? Or maybe the tough conversation is not personal. Sometimes we need to take out the personal feelings. And I'm going to jump a little bit and mix these two topics together. Let go of the
Whoa.
ego.
There you go.
A lot of times the tough
Not let go of
conversation is
my
not
ego for all
personal.
of y'all in breakfast time. I ain't talking about the waffles.
A lot of times it's not a personal thing. The tough conversation might be, we need to let go of a product, a service that's no longer working. Maybe your workload is getting cut, but it's not because they're coming after you, but whatever you're working on, maybe they need to now make space to give you something more fulfilling, something that's actually working. So embracing that part of letting go of your ego, saying, this is all me, this is all mine. No, no situation, no project, nothing like that is just meant just for you. And if you let it go, then you're not going to have anything there. The tough conversation is going to be, okay, if we have to get rid of this, if we have to get rid of this department, if we have to get rid of whatever, where can we put you? Where would you like to go next? Is there space somewhere else in the company for you? That's where that comes in. And then showing that you can shine no matter where they put you. That's something else too you have to think about.
And it's definitely and it moves you forward. It
Mhm.
moves. Well, I can't stress enough that the culture have to be there. You have to feel empowered by the place that you work.
Yes.
And feeling empowered by the place that you work will always produce the right results. Now, will mistakes be made? Yes. Will opportunities and missed balls be dropped? Absolutely.
Yes.
It's no perfect place. But what we can say in the essence of having the culture there, there's an empowerment in the
Mhm.
culture. Culture gives empowerment to the employee. And that's exactly what it is. Not in the essence of a coup, but it gives the person powerful enough to know and understanding to know that, yo, I can be me here. And what does me entail? Being the best that I can be, providing for the company that I so love. And a lot of places love, this is the funny thing that I hear from so many people. A lot of people love the quote unquote job that they're at. And I say that. I didn't say the place where they was at. I said the job, what they're responsible for doing, the joy of the work that they put out. People love that. They hate the culture. They hate the
Mhm.
culture. And this is the toxicity that's allowed to permeate. through bad leaderships who's not embracing the culture of vulnerability. There's a vulnerability piece there that's in the culture that should say, when I come into this place where actually it's already been defined and it's already scientifically known that you spend two places the most in your life is at home and at work. More
Mm,
so at work than you do at home. So therefore you're spending more time with coworkers than you are with your own family. So if that's being the case, why would I want to be with a toxic environment more than I want to be with that? So now you get
child.
an understanding of why people want to be. Oh man, how many work days I got? How many PTOs I got? Taking all of them. Now you understanding why people are not let that time roll over. You
Well,
know,
that's why, because sometimes people go to work to escape the to escape the trauma in the household.
yeah. So now you
So they're
flipping the
not trying to
script.
be traumatized everywhere. Can you imagine? Like, damn.
Yes. And now more people are even comfortable more so working from home. And it's
Yeah,
never been to me, it's never been an attitude of where they could say, oh, you work from home. That was just a ploy by the jobs. You work from home, so that automatically means you can't do more work. The pandemic proved that wrong, which I already knew for that time that you do
right.
more work. There's a concentration level. You don't have to deal with the obscurity of those that's always annoying you in those places of public. But by those people having those mortgages on those places, paying those realtors for that office space, they need you. That's my grandmother say. Sometimes they need butts in the seat. So that's what they need at those workplaces. But now it's always been a premise of we can perform away from the home because the culture. A lot of times we've created the culture in our homes, and whether they're toxic or not, there's a comfortability there in how we
Mhm.
operate and how we move. So I'm always going to stay where I'm comfortable at, and that's how it should be at work. You should go to work every day with a feeling of gratitude that you first of all, you're going to grow. Secondly, you're going to make a difference, and third, you enjoy the people that you work with. Now, if you're not
Mhm.
counting those three things in any order, I suggest you buff off, kick that dust off your resume, and kick it to some place that you feel good at.
Yeah, and I'm glad you talked about, the area, the environment being toxic. You need to That's part of the tough conversation. You need to
Mhm.
have that. And then if someone is let's say someone's saying that you're toxic, then you could break that down. All right, let's have that conversation.
Yeah,
How?
yeah.
What does toxic look like to you? And some people, no lie, toxic to them is you expecting them to do work on time. They stressed out.
Oh yes, I've heard that. I've heard that.
They're stressed out. So what is really being expected of the different employees? You have those who are not trying to do that much work. And that's the reality that some of us are facing. We're on teams that the work is unbalanced. That's going to be a leadership's having to step in and have the tough conversations.
Yes.
Start going to those individuals saying, look, we understand. We need you to pick up more of the slack. We need you to be more of a part of the team. And what is the team doing? And a lot of, if I'm not sure if everyone is doing this, but a lot of companies are now tracking your time and tracking how much you're working on different projects, tracking how much time you're in certain softwares and applications. They're doing this because they need to see who's really doing a lot of the workload. Where is this work? Where's the time being spent? And you have to be careful for that because when that tough conversation comes as a group, too, it's hard to have a tough conversation as a group.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't, because you don't want to feel like you're ganging up on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't want to feel like you're sitting in the corner not saying what you needed to say, because now you're helping to add to that type of environment.
And tough conversations don't have. And tough conversations again. I'm an advocate for don't say anything 0 to 100. Don't
Yes,
don't.
yes,
A
yes.
lot of times I don't address issues at the workplace right then and there. I don't. And unless it's disrespectful. Now, disrespect I won't tolerate at any point, any place, anytime. I don't care if the CEO come in with it. We're gonna have a talk. I'm just that kind of person. I'm man first, then I work at your place. That's
Mm,
that's how I do it. But is in the leadership role, and I never did this. I never called a meeting knowing that one person was the issue, but I called
mm-hmm.
a company meeting. Never called teams together if I knew one person was behind what I had a problem with. Never did it. I'm not wasting everybody's time to hear about something that everybody's not involved in. So this is another piece about having the tough conversations. Don't
Yeah.
blanket it with the nonsense instead of being direct with the solution. Yo, Mary, yo, this coming through your pipeline. This, what happened? Just let me know. And don't have them tough conversations. Tough conversations don't mean that you have to be angry. I want to get
Yes.
that out too. Tough conversations don't mean you got to be going at nobody's neck. It only gets the term tough because they're not easy to have. That don't mean that you
Man.
have to do them like you about to fight and you got gloves on. Ladies that you to put Vaseline on and took the earrings out.
You
No.
didn't say the Vaseline.
Yes. You don't have to have the conversations like that. Tough just means they're uncomfortable to have, but necessary. That's what makes
Yes.
them tough. That don't change any dynamic of I gotta have it hard. I gotta be yelling. I gotta be screaming. That doesn't make the conversation tough. Having these tough,
Mhm.
uncomfortable conversations are just that. They're uncomfortable to have. Hopefully they're uncomfortable because a relationship is there and you really don't want to hurt or step on anyone's toes. But the veracity and the necessity of it is that we must have these so we can
Mhm.
move forward. So I can understand if you're getting it, you can grow. If you're not getting it, how can I help you? I'm not
Right.
dismissing it. I'm not calling you out. How can I help you? Because the main point of focus is I want you to be on board this train. I don't want to leave you.
Yes.
And this is how leaders have to cultivate that cultural vulnerability.
And man, you hit it on the head. The comments are coming in, and Peter just said, they are doing things like that because there's a lack of trust,
The
and we can't.
culture. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
we
Go
can't.
ahead.
We
I'm doing
can't.
shimmy on that one.
Oh Lord, we cannot sit there and do the blanket meetings. I've been in too many of those, and I'll stare directly at the person that I knew they talking to,
Yes. I'm like, yo,
and
you ain't
and
called
I
me
would see
in?
the person is aloof, or the person
No, they
is
don't
like
care. They sitting there
they don't
chilling.
care. That exactly. So it's either they're aloof or they totally don't care. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, so we wasted another meeting.
Had a
I could
meeting
have had a
about the meeting.
V8.
Yeah.
Exactly. I could have had a V8. I could have had a drink. I
Yeah.
could have done anything else. Walked around the park. I could have done anything else today. But you brought me in to talk to somebody in
That you
front of the
already knew
group without
about.
talking to them.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why I say he have a that's what we used to call when I used to be involved with those the ludicrous of it. I was like, yo, did we just have a meeting about the meeting? Because he pulled us all in this meeting to really talk about the meeting he should be having with the person that's doing it. So that's why
Yes.
I came up with that phrase. Oh, we just had a meeting about the meeting. That's what we just had. Somebody he wanted to talk to, he didn't do it. So we had a meeting about the meeting. So in other words, he was telling me that he didn't meet with the person that he needed to be speaking to. Yes, Christina,
So
that is a
so
word.
yeah, so what we saying is strap up and get a backbone. Strap your
Oh,
backbone in. As leaders, strap your backbone in, make sure it's locked in tight, and
yeah,
have these tough conversations with who you need to have them with.
absolutely.
Sometimes, and you have to understand at what degree. Yes, there are going to be company meetings that you need to be forthright with and have the tough talk with, and then there's going to be the individuals that you need to pull them in and talk to them. And with that, if they come back at you, if they're saying that there's anything, you as the individual too, let go of your ego. If there's something that is happening that you are
Let it go.
participating in and it's affecting others around you, let go of your ego and get with it.
Let it go. Let it go.
So a lot of what we're saying today at the end of the day, these are
Yes.
just quick ways to learn how to embrace the cultural vulnerability and allow it to help you build a better culture for yourself. A lot of us are in these corporations where it feels like they're not listening, it feels like they're not paying attention, but maybe there's just a couple of things that we can kind of help along. And this is only for companies and leaders who you can see a spark of common sense in them,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they'll listen and they'll participate with you. And just to do a quick run through is, we had the myth buster of embracing vulnerability in the workplace as a sign of weakness and it's dangerous. Carl broke that down and said, no, it's not. You have to know how to do it and be forthright with it. And then that brought us into our three ways of how to embrace it. You want to ask those questions. Ask people, how do they want the culture? How would they like to learn in that culture? What type of environment are they envisioning? Ask those questions. And then based on what your answers are, pay attention to the answers so you can have the tough conversations to make sure that these questions can be resolved, or you can bring some solution to these situations. Have those tough conversations with people. It may be you have to have a tough conversation with yourself. Sit yourself in a corner and talk.
I'm looking at the man in the mirror.
Okay.
I'm asking him to change his way. Yeah, y'all know I got to keep
Good
my day job
Lord.
right. I'm not no
Good
singer.
Lord. You don't know what you're gonna get on these shows. You don't know what you're
That's
gonna get.
it. You gonna get value. You gonna get value. That's for
That is
sure.
true. That is true.
That's so.
And then finally, you want to let go of the ego. If
Yes.
especially for yourself, because a lot of times we can help others let go of their ego, but it's really about you.
Mhm.
We got to focus on what we can control. People have situations going on. There's things going on in their house. They come to the workplace, and now this is their playground
Mhm.
to feel tough and do foolishness.
And
That's when we got
aggravate
to
you.
say, you know what? Yeah, we got to say, you know what? Is it me they coming for? Maybe it's not me. Maybe it really is the work that they wanna help improve. Let's just figure that out, right? Let's just figure that out,
Absolutely.
and then have that deep retrospect. Any last words you want to say, and also mention our friend, Mr. Martin Pratt, as he's doing big things.
Yeah, we want to mention my man Martin Pratt. Yes, 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 and I'm hitting the solo. I'm hitting the solo. I'm putting the cash app in the comments so you guys can hook a brother up. Now, all jokes aside, Martin Pratt get he's one of our black leaders on Black LinkedIn. I know it's 800 million people on here, probably 800 something plus, but I know it's a lot of people on here. But he's all about that hashtag Black LinkedIn. They've created that. He has a book coming out called The Black Toolbox, and it is quintessential for us to get this book because he delves into a lot of things that us as black people are, maybe I won't say oblivious to, but there's a lot of things that maybe we have not opened our eyes up, and a lot of things that he's given in there as tools for us as entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, leaders, African Americans in general. And this is not to solidate, or go against the whites or whatever. So I don't want it to be taken as that. But there's advantages that we have that we're not seeing, because it's a lot of times you can't see the forest for the trees because you're up under the trees, so you can't see the trees. So a lot of times you have those like himself and Future Kane. There's a few other ones that's on here that's making sure that you are in a place of knowing. And he's got this book, The Black Toolbox, that he's had going out. He wants you to grab your copy. I told him I would shout it out because I love what he's doing and I love him as a brother. Plus, he's my Philly boy. He's right across the street from me. I call it across the street. I'm in Jersey and Philly. You know, if you know about the tri-state, we all close like that. So I
Yes,
love
and
what he's
Carl
doing.
has not crossed the street yet
I love what he's
to
doing.
Philly
Oh,
or New
in
York. He
fact,
has not
yeah,
crossed
we
the
going
street
back to masks, man. They
yet.
trying to make us wear masks back again in Jersey, man. I can't with these people. I can't
Not in
with them.
New
I got
York.
like I done took 10 shots. I done got 10 boosters, and they still want me to wear a mask. I don't know what it is. Anyway, yes, go check that out. Also check out. I know we've gotten away from it, but I'm still doing that too. The vulnerability transformation program. We still getting that up. That is still running full force. 4 steps to transformation, guys. 4 steps to transformation. It's a guide to C-suite leadership. No, it's not just for leadership. I call it. It's for all leadership, but I say it's a guide because when you have a guide, you normally follow a guide, right? That's why I put that title in there. It's a guide to C-suite leadership, so we can get an understanding of those 4 steps. That's all I got. I ain't got no 6 steps to 7 figures. I don't got none of that. I got 4 steps right there. You see how you get to that breakthrough? For those 4 steps right there. And I work with you on that. I work with you. I work with the individuals. I work with teams. I work with corporations, and I work with the functionality of getting these 4 steps done. And in doing the work, I gotta say that doing the work. Some of y'all saw my grind or a hustler post. That's what I do. I was sitting up at the table last night, hustling and grinding. Y'all saw that gavel on my chest. I was hustling and grinding with these law people because we got to get it in there, Christine. Let's go.
Yeah,
So we make
so
sure.
and of course for me, you guys catch Transform Clicks to Profit
Yes.
the podcast. We're doing lives, but we also have episodes that are up. and you can catch that on the LinkedIn page. And you could also download the podcast. So far, 10 episodes. You could download the podcast on your favorite podcast listening. And, make sure that you are part of Credible Vulnerability Moments. We appreciate y'all for coming through all the time
Yeah.
because the conversations are real. The next one we having is May 27th, Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, where we are really diving more into these topics. And we're what's the next one? I think the next one we're doing
We're
practicing.
practicing. We're
How we gonna
practicing.
put this everything that we've talked about so far, how we putting that into practice?
That's it.
You guys are going to see that come through. And just wanted to thank y'all for supporting our series. It's taken off. We're excited. We have what, 53 people
Yeah, we started on a
in
month
attendance.
project. We
Come on
started
now.
on a month. We started at we called it a mini series at first.
Yes.
You guys didn't set us up for more seasons. I love that. I love that when your season get picked up. Ain't that good as an actor? Y'all hear my English? Ain't that good? Ain't that good as an actor when they pick you up for another
But we
season?
not acting. We not acting in these streets.
No,
And
this is a spinoff from where real recognize real. Don't get it twisted.
yes, yes. And what I also wanted to put out there for y'all is Carl and I are working on something else. They're
Oh,
gonna be on Wednesdays. We're working on something else.
doing my shimmy
Um,
shimmy like Steph Curry, my shimmy shimmy.
but I think I'm more going to be the producer. I'm going
Yes.
to be the and I'm gonna drop a little hint. I'm going to be the civilian, the what is it, civilian uh jokester on the side, the one
Yeah,
who
yeah.
asks all the
She gonna be
questions.
the civilian devil's advocate. That's what she gonna
Yeah,
be.
I'll be the
Yeah,
devil's advocate in this role, just
yeah,
asking questions, just trying to figure out where do we
yeah,
go from here? What's
yeah.
happening? Because I know nothing about this world. I know nothing about this world. But I have friends, I have people close to me, Carl included, who are part of this world. And, we already seen people have conversations that they would like to get out there. And we're here. We're here for it. We're here to figure out what is happening. And as a civilian, when by the time it gets to me, it's already been a crap storm
Oh,
everywhere else. So so we just want to understand that. So yes, definitely look out for that. It's gonna drop in June. We're
yes.
so excited. I think this is gonna be the second show we dropped in June. I'm so
Yeah, we
excited.
love in June. You know how they used to be back in the day when the blockbuster movies used to hit in June or July, somewhere around there. You know, the big Marvel pictures used to come out. Will Smith, back in the day when he was famous, he used to drop that stuff out, on those big mega movies in July to carry you through. But we dropping stuff in June because we want it to be hot. Drop it like it's
Yes,
hot,
yes. We gonna and there's something else we dropping, but we're not talking about that yet.
Man, we
But
dropping
yeah,
a lot of stuff. Y'all gonna see us all the time. I'm just letting you know. Y'all gonna see us because we cultivating the ideas and we pushing it out and we bringing the value and we ain't ashamed of it. So it's coming.
yes, yes. So we cannot wait. So we would talk more about what's gonna happen in June. We'll talk more about that next week, because by that time we'll have a couple of things under our belt. Do some reveals. Isn't that what they do in the internet world on the social streets? They do some reveals. They drop a little hint. So
Yes,
that's what we doing. Yes, we dropping a new mixtape. Boop.
mixtape on the mixtape.
Oh my god, I love Garen. So yes, we dropping
Yeah, we
mixtape.
gotta get Garen on here. Garen, I just sent you the yeah, it's a new June mixtape. We didn't sent you the book and
Ain't it
see, bro.
early for him? It's
Yeah,
at mad
yeah.
early for him.
Yeah, because we normally see you with the flat cut, or you know what I mean, with the smooth looks and the videos. We try when we grow up, we want to be just like you. We want to be just
Say,
like you
talk
when we
about
grow up.
it. Talk
We'll be
about it. Put that in
proud.
existence. So,
Yeah, yes, we want to be just like
so
you. Because Desk Rig
yeah.
is moving. That's a free plug for you. Desk Rig, go
Mm-hmm.
check out my man Garen and go Bellini. Go check out his site. Check out what he's
Yes, the
doing as
mobile,
well.
mobile, the desk rig on the move,
And
and
check
then
out
of
his
course you
video.
looking professional.
He's just looking like Hollywood that produced something he put together. So y'all go check it
Mm.
out. And that's him. That's him. So it's all him. It's all his doing. So y'all go check him out, Garen. We love you, bro. We appreciate you coming by, man.
Yes, appreciate you always. So, guys, we will catch y'all next Friday. Same bat channel, same bat time.
He say in his head color.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.